99.1 Joy FM. Good afternoon. We're Justin and Kim. So excited to be joined on Zoom today from the comfort of his car by Daren from We Are Messengers. Darren, what's up, man?
Yeah, very luxurious surroundings. I'm sitting outside Walgreens. It's the only place I could find to be quiet.
Well, how are you doing with all this? Are you feeling kind of like emotionally done with quarantine life?
Yeah, I was done 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'm like, we go to our small group, our virtual small group every Monday night. And you see all the other couples there and they're like, "And how are you guys doing?" I'm like, "Well, we're killing each other."
Yeah.
This is a nightmare. And I'm waiting for all the fellas to back me up. And all you hear them is, "Oh, we're having such a wonderful renaissance of our relationship." And I'm like, "Quit me a break, will you? That's not true." Because I know it's not true.
Yeah.
But no, some of it's beautiful. It's nice being around the kids and watching their wee personalities. But, as an industry, it's been really hard for so many people.
Yeah.
I'm lucky that I've been able to keep my guys all on salary, but that gets harder every month. So many people have lost their jobs, and yeah, it's a tough time. But if we're not going to rely on Jesus in this, it's going to get an awful lot harder emotionally. So I'm putting all my trust in him at the moment. And yeah, we're doing good. Long answer, Kim. We're doing really good.
Well, I think you speak to something that's really true, is that the music industry, the live event industry right now, is really reeling. And a lot of artists that you hear on Joy FM, they're not in a position where they're not hurting by this.
Yeah.
That's the biggest part of your livelihood.
Yeah, dude. Just everyone's hurting, And so, like, when I say I'm taking care of my guys and my salary, me and my wife, we're paying that out of our personal savings, and we can only sustain that for so long.
Sure.
But I made commitments to these guys. They've walked with us, and I'm not going to let people suffer for something that's not their fault. But we're praying that God resolves this quickly and swiftly. There's just too many families rely on this. Like, I'm in Nashville. This city will fall apart.
Yeah.
If the music industry is affected long term. And so we got to find a way. Oh, the Lord's just got to show up, bro. The Lord's just got to do it. It's always been him that's rescued us, and I expect him to do that. I really, really do.
So you've got a house full of kiddos. You have 4, right? 4 kids?
4, yeah.
Okay. My first question is, how do you keep the mask on your kids? Because that seems like a chore in itself.
Duct tape, all kinds of masking. We just skip the mask and go straight to the duct tape. We can't take the noise. No, before child services come. We had some friends. My guitar player's mother-in-law actually made masks for us all. So
nice.
She made like pretty flower ones for my daughter and my wife, and she made me a camouflage one. And I feel like something out of Mortal Kombat every time I put it on.
Yes.
It's weird, dude.
A friend of mine had a great idea. She's got little ones as well, and she made them a matching headband so they feel like a ninja, and it helps them keep it on.
I love it. I'm not wearing that, but I do love the idea.
So are you guys homeschooling? Were you homeschooling before this, or were they going to school? And
yeah, no. The answer is no. Our kids are going to public school. We've always really wanted to keep our kids in public school because we believe it's important to impact culture and not just to, mollycoddle them. But my wife recently has been really passionate about homeschooling and the idea of doing that. And so she's putting that into practice. It's hard.
Oh, man.
It's really hard.
I can't even imagine.
Brutal. Like my boy asked me to to divide fractions the other day. Divide fractions? Like, you may as well have asked me to send a rocket into space, My wife's got a lot of patience. She's doing a really good job, and I have a lot of admiration for homeschooling parents. They're pretty incredible.
How's your family back home in Ireland? Have you checked in with them recently?
Yeah, I called my dad, my mom and dad. So they're in quarantine. And I asked my dad, I said, Dad, how do you feel about quarantine? And he just laughed. He said, I've been preparing for this all my life. So he's like me. He's an introvert. But if you get him going, he won't stop. But normally his normal position at a party is finding the nearest corner with the chair furthest from civilization. So they're okay. They're doing good. And I miss them a lot. I really want to see them, but we got to wait for this thing to pass a wee bit.
Yeah. So we have been enjoying your home sessions that you've been putting on social media. I know you released it to iTunes. So talk about your home sessions a little bit.
Super cool, man.
It's so awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, whenever this all happened, just before the stay-at-home orders came into place, we realized that this is where things were moving. Mm-hmm. And so we just hired a studio, and we did some at our home and in my house too. And we just wanted to reimagine the songs. So people keep asking us for like stripped back versions of We Are Messenger songs because we're really rowdy. We're a very rowdy raucous band. And I wanted to do that. So we just reimagined them, toned everything back. And it turned out so beautiful. I love them. Like I actually prefer them to the original versions. I don't know. They feel like they were made for this time. All of those songs feel like they were made for this season. And, when I'm singing songs like Home and Love off the new record, it's like God give us these songs for this season. And I'm thankful for music now more than I ever have been because it's ministering to me as opposed to me just ministering to other people through it. So check those out. Home sessions on Apple Music.
It's like you're at the Sofa series.
It is.
Yeah.
Except the Sofa series is more fun because I get to see human beings. Which reminds me, I need to come back and do the Sofa series. Let's make that happen again.
We would love that. That was so fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's talk about this new song, Love, for just a second. It is so fun. And it's such a message I think we need to hear right now because we can forget, as Christians even sometimes, when we go through tough situations like a coronavirus, that we can feel like forgotten and we can feel like God's abandoned us, but we have to rely on what we know, and this is a great reminder of those things that we know about God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. Like even when I wrote that song, I didn't realize the lyrics were going to be as on point as they are for this season. So that first verse says, "Everybody hurts sometimes. I know that's what they say, but right now it feels this loneliness won't go away. Does anybody feel this heartache? Is anyone around?" And I was listening to that the other day in the car, and I was like, God, you give this song for me and my family. And so every time we play that song in my house, we don't play a lot of We Are Messenger songs, but we do play that one because my kids dance. They forget about fear. They forget about worry. They forget about mom and dad maybe having a few arguments they shouldn't have, because as believers, we're not called to like soak in panic and in fear and anxiety. We're called to be children of the promise of God. And he said, I will never leave you. I will never forsake you. And if we really believe that his love is with us, we know the end of this story. Kim, you just walked through a season where you weren't sure what the end of the story would be. Yeah. But God once again proved himself to be good. He proved himself to be in love with you. He proved himself to be kind. And we want those kind of songs in the world right now. And so, bro, like if love wasn't made for this season, I don't know what song is. Yeah. I'm not going to be the kind of father who sits and sings songs about fear to my kids. I'm going to sing songs about a God whose love is lavish even when it hurts, who is with us even when it's tough. And so that's our family's anthem. And and I'm not ashamed of my dad dancing when it happens. I'm all in.
I love it.
Don't hang your head when you get lonely. No, I'll never leave your side. And don't go thinking you're the only one that can get it right. Yeah, you got my love, 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 love down in your soul. Yeah, you got my love, 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 and I won't let you go.
Now, being home in this time, do you feel pressure to kind of create new music, or are you just being able to just rest in it? Or
because I hear everybody saying, if you're not doing the thing you didn't say you had time for, you're not being productive.
Are you learning a language? Are you?
No, my brain is turning to mom mush. My wife often tells me that her brain is turning to mush.
Yeah.
I totally get it. I'm like, I don't even know how to be an adult around these kids. It's so noisy. I tell you, I'm writing songs. I wrote with an incredible lady called Christine DeMarco from Bethel Music a few days ago. I've been writing some stuff for a new We Are Messengers record. And honestly, like in my car right now, sorry, my car is so messy, but like I bought this little interface thing here, went to a music store. That's right, I left my house. You can send your hate mail to my home address.
But you have your camouflage mask.
I did have my camouflage mask. It was essential business. This is my livelihood. So I'm writing and I'm producing wee things and doing a billion Zoom meetings and a billion Facebook lives.
Yeah.
Like, do you guys, I want to ask you a question. I know you're interviewing me, but do you know the way like every artist in the world is doing Facebook lives?
Yes.
Are you bored of that already? Like really bored of that already or not?
I'm not.
Yeah, I think it's kind of fun to check in with people because I think for me, it makes me feel like, oh, we're in this together. You know, like, oh, they struggle with the same things that I'm struggling with. It kind of puts us both on, because it's easy for us to put musicians, celebrities like on this pedestal. But it kind of levels the playing field and thinking like, oh, we're all human. We all have this suffering that we're walking through. And it's kind of refreshing to me.
And to be honest with you, dude, I love it because, you know, I've played music in my past. And when you see someone on Facebook Live, it's just like you're getting the raw talent.
Yes.
And
I love
it's like, okay, that person's more talented than I thought they were. You know, you just strip away all the production.
Or less talented.
Yeah, or less. Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to check because I just don't want to be overkill with that kind of thing. But
there's a fine line.
It's a strange season. I just
Yeah.
want to hug people and tell them I love them face to face. Like even you two, like you're my friends. Like before we are like this whole radio music thing.
Yeah.
And like to be sitting in my car looking at a tiny screen of you guys, so it's so weird. And people keep saying, oh, maybe this is the new normal. This better not be the new normal.
Yeah.
I want to be with people.
Yeah.
No, bro, it's not. Nah, this is temporary.
Yeah.
This thing will pass too. Everything passes.
Yep.
Well, speaking of when it does, the Hits Deep tour was postponed. You were supposed to be in St. Louis like not too long ago.
Yeah, we were so excited.
Yeah, and our hearts were kind of broken when it was postponed because the stay-at-home order like went into effect literally 2 days before the show here in St. Louis. And so
we're blaming St. Louis, by the way.
Well, you know, St. Louis loves you guys, so we're so excited to have you come back.
So I hope that show goes on and continues.
Yeah, we rescheduled for August.
Yep.
So now we're hoping everything moves and we get back in August. You're right though, Kim. St. Louis feels like home to us, and you guys, you know, obviously have the joy of played such a huge part in that. So I feel like of all the cities in America that I get excited about playing, St. Louis is one of the top of the list because they're proper fans. They know every song, not just the songs on the radio. They know them all. So that's what gets me excited.
As we talk about like, man, how people are encouraged by your music. Have you heard any stories more recently from someone here in St. Louis?
Yeah, we were in St. Louis. I don't know, it was before we did the last show at your place. But there was a woman who was in a very violent and abusive relationship. You know, essentially she was being abused physically and emotionally over a period of years by her husband. And it got to the point where she felt concerned about her kids' well-being too, you know. And so it was a really strange one because she came to me for help asking, what do I do? What do I do? And I'm like, listen, honestly, there's two arguments here. One is that you should reconcile your relationship with your husband. But the other argument is that you need to protect yourself and protect your kids. And she said, but I just don't feel like I have permission. And this is a strange one, so forgive me. But she said, will you please give me permission to leave that house? And you have to remember, I'm sitting there going, I don't feel like I can give anyone permission to do anything.
Right.
So I just prayed and I said, listen, may the Lord reveal to you what is right for your family. May he give you permission to leave if that is what needs to be done. And so she sent us a message a couple of days later saying that she had left the home and that they were seeking counseling, that they were seeking guidance. attempting to restore things. But I think sometimes we look at situations as Christians and we go, it's black and white.
Yeah.
This woman was being physically beaten in your city. And so she's holding on to songs that she's heard on the radio. She's holding on to artists like us. People sometimes are just hanging on to their lives. And sometimes that's enough. And so what you do, lads, what we do, on the days where you think it doesn't matter, there's a wee woman in St. Louis today who is probably alive because she eventually got permission to leave an incredibly dangerous situation.
Wow.
So well done. Well done.
Well, thank you for that. And sometimes you just, being in this so-called industry of Christian music, whether it be on the radio or a performer, sometimes you get lost in the job itself, and you can forget just how impactful music and that message of hope is.
Oh my goodness. And it has to be hope. It has to be hope, because if we don't have hope in Jesus, we don't have anything. And again, I'm looking at you, Kim, and Justin, I know you've walked through your own stuff in your life. You look at our stories and you go, if we didn't have hope in Jesus, we would have had nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing to hold on to. And so I would encourage people that are listening that even in this season, God is going to show himself to be good again. He's going to show himself to be restorer, reconciler, healer, provider. He's all of those things. And if you will just, I got the scripture. So the scripture says that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character produces hope. So this season is going to produce character and hope. And when you have those things, your faith will be made perfect, just like James promises. So hold on just a little longer. And you know what? Sorry, I'm on a rant. Don't just hold on. We do that so often as Christians. It's like, if we can just hold on a little longer. No, dude. Dance your way through this season.
Mm-hmm.
Rejoice your way through this season. Laugh your way through it. It's possible. We can do it together. Play that song Love a lot more. That kind of thing.
Yes.
Danny Goki just dropped a new song, by the way, called, what's it called? Something about love God and love people.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good. So good. Let's rejoice our way through seasons.
At the end of that verse, it says, and hope does not disappoint.
Woo.
And we get disappointed by so many things in our world. I love Jane Austen. I was reading one of her books, and there was a scene where it was very drab looking. And then she said, but it was too late. Hope had already entered the room. And there's something about when hope enters a room, it's too late. Everything else has to leave. That's so you can't go back to despair because hope has entered the room. And
that's so good.
That's so who Jesus is. Like once
you can't unsee it. You can't unsee him, Kim.
Yes.
You see, I have joy now, which is why we wrote that song Love in the first place, because I realized that I had joy in every circumstance. So suffering is a gift. And you know what? Who shows off in suffering? Jesus shows off.
Yeah.
And he shows off through the joy that he gives and demonstrates for us. And when you see him, you can't unsee him.
Yeah.
And when you get this goofy smile that I have right now, even though I am losing my livelihood hand over fist right now, there is nothing on earth, nothing in the heavens that can take this smile off my face. Because I've got him. I have joy. I have hope.
Yeah.
And that's all we've ever really needed.
Yeah.
Darren, you're amazing, dude. We appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Thanks for checking in this crazy season.
Dude, it's a pleasure. I love both of you very, very much.
We love
I love
you
this
too.
radio station very much. You guys are game changers. You really are absolute game changers. And the story about that wee woman I told you, I can give you 20 more stories of marriages restored, of people that have turned away from having abortions, of people who have realized that it's possible to live through mental health because you guys play songs that matters, because you guys have conversations that matter. And Kim, because you're telling your story and you're not embarrassed or ashamed of how hard it's been. Same for you, Justin. You guys are a blessing to me and my life and my family. So we love you. I'm going to leave this parking lot before the police come.
Thank you.
All right.
God bless you, man.
Thanks, Daren.